I was changed into a woman by society, by all of those outside forces. I was not born a woman. I studied what I wanted to without difficulty, and I never met with hostility among my colleagues. When I was a young girl, my father lost all of the family's money. He used to remind us, my sister, my mother, and I, that he was never paid his dowry for my mother. I decided when I was 14 years old that I would become an atheist, even though I had this strict Catholic upbringing and went to a convent school where I actually considered becoming a nun. Can you imagine? So at this age of 14, not only did I decide to become an atheist and to deny the existence of God, but I also dedicated my life to the study of my existence. In France, the children grow up too distant from other children and too close to their mothers. Mine, as well as the other girls' mothers in class, would sit behind me during class. After I graduated, I began my career as a writer and as a teacher. And it was at this academy that I met Jean-Paul Sartre at the age of 21. I had only been in love once before. I thought that I would marry and have children, but later, when my intellectual voyage became clear, it became clear to me that it was to be my vocation, my passion, my destination, and the pathway to this knowledge of philosophy. So then I decided I would not marry or have children. And that did not change when Jean-Paul proposed. Jean-Paul was drafted in the military of France in 1939.
No, you fascist!
And then he was held as a prisoner of war for just under a year. After he returned from his service, he and I went on our business venture together and founded the Journal of Les Temps Modernes to print our philosophical works. And this was actually where the second sections of it were printed at first before being published later in 1949. But of course it was after my biggest existential works, The Ethics of Ambiguity in 1947. In 1941, my father died, and this was a particularly hard time for me because I had lost Jean-Paul as a prisoner of war, and then my father, and I was working as a teacher. Of course, this was before Hitler came to power and came to overpower France. And it was after the fascist regime took over that I lost my job as a teacher. I suppose that they did not like a female feminist existentialist teaching. I did not do much writing in 1941, but I came back in 1943 and published She Came to Stay. And I suppose I did come to stay to continue to write, as I published another in 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. I spent a significant amount of my adult life as a political activist, as the war in Algeria compelled me and showed me that it was my intellectual duty to participate in political activism. I was also a political activist for women's rights to choose, women's rights for equality, as well as getting rid of the ideology behind marriage. I always thought that it was a way of tying a woman as property to a man, and it always seemed wrong to me that there was no out. No exit, I guess, as Jean-Paul would say. That is until America made a great stride forward in the history of traditional marriage. Ironically enough, I dedicated most of my existence to studying my existence. We are interconnected and cannot blossom without each other.
This semester, at a college campus nowhere in your vicinity, 1 genie, 2 bottles of wine, 1 wish, and 1 epic voiceover. Critics are calling it a group project in an online class. What the fuck did I just watch? Good work. Well done. Starring Savannah Summerfield as renowned feminist existentialist Simone de Beauvoir. Christopher Swatzel as even more renowned but maybe less profound than Simone, Jean-Paul Sartre. Also starring security guy and renowned cool dude down for anything to break the bureaucratic monotony of his day-to-day work life. In Pushing Down Daisies, the eternal feminine has risen.
I wonder if I rub this lamp if a genie will come out. I've had it for 30 years and clearly I've never cleaned it. Guess not.
Hi. I'm a genie.
Huh? Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh, that's-
I've been in that thing for a real long time.
Sorry.
Long time. You waited too long.
Did not know I could get you out of that.
Most people don't, but it's more common than they
You
think.
should put a note on
I
it.
should, probably.
Yeah,
Well,
people might know in the future.
definitely.
Rub it.
So you have 3 wishes.
Good. Okay. I feel I really need 2 bottles of wine. Now I know next time to be a little more specific. I think for my second wish, I would really like to have an interview with Simone de Beauvoir. And for my third, I shall grant you your freedom.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. Oh, okay.
You're
Dick.
very welcome.
Begin. Let us begin.
Simone. So, Simone, you are a renowned feminist, and I have to ask, do men need an engraved invitation to join in this feminism?
Apparently, it would seem so. They think that feminism should be just left up to the women, but without the white man behind us, what are we supposed to do?
But see, couldn't one believe that if men get involved in feminism, that feminism perhaps has gone too far?
No, feminism has not gone far enough.
Explain.
Lovely. Feminism has not gone far enough because there is no gender equality in any country in the world right now.
So, if no country has ever achieved gender equality, it just sounds like, we might as well give up on it, right?
No, It is not a dead dream. It is important to strive for those things that we feel cannot be attained, even though we feel they cannot be attained.
Follow-up question. Do I want to bone my mom?
That is a question that only you can answer. Maybe so, because you have posed the question itself, so that makes me think that perhaps you do. You might want to talk to Freud.
So from a feminist perspective, you think I want to bone my mom?
Yes.
Why didn't you ever get engaged, married, have children?
It became clear to me early on in my intellectual pursuits that marriage, family, children, that these were not things for me to pursue, because my intellectual career was more important. The need to examine my own existentialism superseded the need to have children.
Is that why you got involved in political activism?
I got involved in political activism because I felt it was my intellectual duty to do so. Because I felt that when there are injustices being committed against so many people, so many atrocities in the Algerian War, for instance, that is the height of my political activism, that it is the duty of those who are less oppressed than others to stand up for those people.
Can I interrupt? Simone, may I borrow a Newport? I just find it fascinating that this is what you're smoking.
Of course.
Thank you.
I mean, they had them all by hand in my day, but now they are all prepackaged. And I suppose we have to give a shout out to the sponsor of Newport.
Very, very smooth transition there. So speaking of catching up with the times, I mean, what do you think of the current state of toxic masculinity, the presidency, Donald Trump? Some would say that he's a champion for feminist rights. Would you agree?
Donald Trump?
Yes, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
Yeah, orange guy, toupee.
No, I know who you're speaking of, but this man has risen to the head of the executive branch.
Oh yeah.
How did this happen?
Morons.
Hillary Clinton.
There was a woman that ran.
Yes.
Well,
I heard it's her
That's-
fault that she's president.
I hope that a woman running does not make it harder for men to become president in the United States of America.
So, if you had a message for the United States specifically, or Donald Trump, or any other world leader, what do you think should be done for women?
The message I would send would be to watch out, because the women are rising. The eternal feminine is eternal. It will never die. And it is important that this man has been able to rise to such a position of power.
Simone, I want to thank you for allowing me to take this time to speak one-on-one after your interview that you had earlier today. I appreciate it.
Yes, that man is horribly biased, I think.
It's a man thing.
Yes, it is.
It's getting better every day.
No, it's just getting worse every day. I see
Yes.
from the afterlife.
It's not good. But speaking of such, how do you feel about this war on men that's been
I think that
coming in?
to view the term feminism as antagonistic, as too assertive, as too strong, as too mischaracterize what women are really trying to achieve with feminism.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the words that matters though, it is the ideology behind gender equality.
Right.
And I feel that it is similar to the Black Lives Matter movement in a way. And that is that people are taking the Black Lives Matter movement and saying that, oh, well, white lives do not matter and police lives do not matter. That is not what the movement is trying to achieve. What they are trying to achieve is to point out that there is a particular set that is suffering in a particular way that needs to be addressed. And that is similar to the movement in feminism.
And everyone, we need help, and this is the place where it needs to be, and we're just addressing that, and it's getting attacked incorrectly.
Yes, and it is like saying that save the rainforest means fuck all other kinds of forests.
Right.
No, it is saying that there is one kind of forest that needs help right now, and that forest is rainforest. And nobody has a problem with that because it is an abstract. But woman as defined by men and feminism as defined by men is not so abstract, I suppose.
So now that I have you here in the afterlife, there's been so many conversations and so many I wouldn't really call it a study, because how does one study the afterlife, but thoughts and philosophies on the afterlife and where our spirits go.
Yes, we.
So where do our spirits go? What happens in the afterlife? What becomes of us when we are put into the ground or put on a mantle and an urn?
Well, I can tell you that no one has gotten it right so far. The closest he gets goes to a college student in Princeton. During the early 90s, he went on a rant while tripping on acid, and that is the closest that humankind has come to figuring out what is going on in the afterlife. I can tell you that we do not have food or drink. It is not necessary for subsistence, so they do not provide it. So it is lovely that you have the wine here. What kind of wine is this?
Well, I brought you two kinds today. I brought a Writer's Block, which is an old vine Zinfandel.
Oh, this one?
That is the one, yes.
See, I've never had writer's block. I found it easy to convey my ideas intellectually in writing.
And then the third one, because of your infamous life while you were existing, was the Ménage à Trois.
Yes, the last time I had a ménage à trois, Jean-Paul was Jean-Paul Sartre.
So we've heard very wonderful life that you had lived, that was put on paper, and then in the afterlife that was interpreted by many other people who tried to bring out the negatives and the positives of your life.
Yes, I'd like to focus on the positives that you mentioned, which is, I believe, that my work helped influence one of the chapters in Feminine Mystique, which is one of the books that really helped move the feminist movement in the United States, which I helped to move France in the same direction in my time there, moving for the right of women to choose their own form of birth control and the right of women to choose what they want to do with their lives, just as men do.
So I would like to ask you about your choice of clothing. Is it a choice, actually? Because I noticed that this is what you were buried in.
Yes, when you die, you are preserved forever in whatever it is that you are wearing. So if you were to die today, you would die in this camisole and these pants.
My pearl snap camisole?
Yes. Yeah, that is what you would be preserved in forever. And I happened to choose this dress the day that I died. And so now it is forever with me. For better or for worse, I mean, it is cotton, it is comfortable, breathable. But,
It's held up well over the years, and it looks beautiful.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.